So, Karen, how long have you lived in Fitzroy?
We're in our 8th year now. And we've actually moved here from Sydney,
Yeah,
and Fitzroy's the first suburb that we lived in. We actually rented a place in North Fitzroy for 6 months.
yeah,
Having come from Darlinghurst in Sydney, we thought we'd like to be just a little bit out of it for a while on the outskirts rather than living right amongst it.
yeah,
And during that 6 months, we just felt a little bit lost, a little bit detached to what was happening.
yeah,
So we decided we'd move into Fitzroy itself, and we've been there ever since.
yeah. So, do you find Fitzroy a little bit like Darlinghurst?
I guess probably what appealed to us, we actually spent our first 6 weeks in a service department in South Yarra,
Yeah,
which neither of us felt that we were connecting with at all.
yeah,
And I suppose when we lived in Darlinghurst, Paddington was well underway,
yeah,
fairly established and
Yeah.
very expensive to live in. Darlinghurst was sort of just on its way, and I think Fitzroy was a bit like that
Yeah.
for us maybe 7 years ago when we could afford to buy in the area. And since then, prices have just skyrocketed.
yeah,
And I guess a change of people
Yeah.
has happened during that time in the area, and Darlinghurst is very much like that. So that's probably actually appealing because I think in that environment you get an interesting mix of people
Yeah.
during that transition time.
sure. So, what sort of things do you like about Fitzroy?
I guess in terms of, I didn't have a car. I now have a car because I've since had 2 children. There are certain things that I need to access, and I need a car to do that.
Yeah,
So living in Fitzroy, I can walk anywhere I can access. I mean, it's shops, it's parks.
yeah,
There's, the museum is close by now, which is great. Children actually don't have a car for that, but I think it's the convenience. I don't actually have to leave Fitzroy basically to do anything. As insular as that may sound,
Yeah.
that's what I like about it.
So it's got that village sort
It's
of.
got quite a strong community
Yeah.
of people, and I think that's really nice. And having had children, especially, I spend a lot more time in Fitzroy and out on the street, and you really do get to know people, and that's really nice. It's nice to know the people who operate businesses around you,
Yeah.
the local people.
So what sort of places do you go to Fitzroy, like cafes or pubs? Or...
Probably don't go to so many pubs these days, but still frequent cafes. Joe's probably one of the places that we spent a lot of time initially, and we still frequent there, I
Yeah.
guess. And a lot of the staff there have been there long term,
Yeah,
and they've watched, us be childless and now with our family, and they've got to know our family. So that, I guess, is a draw card in terms of going back there,
Yeah.
because it's a familiarity, I suppose.
yeah,
Otherwise, I mean, Mario's, I think, is a well-established
yeah, it is.
cafe in Fitzroy.
Yeah,
So yeah, we don't actually, there aren't an enormous number. We do have our favourites that
yeah.
we go into.
Okay. And is there anything that you don't like about Fitzroy, or the negative sides of it?
Not really, no. I mean, I guess a lot of people thought because we were having children that we would leave the area because we don't have a backyard,
Yeah.
those sorts of things. But I have access to Fitzroy Gardens, Carlton Gardens. So there's nothing today that
Yeah.
I really feel is a negative aspect for us personally.
Yeah.
We really enjoy being here. And I guess we live slightly off the street as well, so it's really quite quiet.
Yeah.
Kerr Street is really busy on Friday and Saturday nights because there's such an influx of people.
Yeah.
And there are always beer bottles and things like
Yeah.
that on mailboxes and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And because we're slightly away from that, that doesn't affect us personally, but I know it affects other people who actually live on the street. Find that there's a lot of rubbish and that sort of thing
Yeah.
in their front yards after weekends.
Yeah. So is there anything that you see could threaten the things you like about Fitzroy? Like,
I guess from what initially appealed to me, I mean, like anything, it changes, it develops, and you lose
certain things.
certain things, a lot of that character.
Yeah.
And I guess, certain people are forced to move out because when an area becomes more expensive to live in, the people who actually established it, so to speak, are the ones who get pushed out, and then they find a new location, and I miss that.
Yeah.
I think that's sad, but I'm one of those people, I guess, who's contributed to that change. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, a bit unrealistic to think that you can still enjoy that
Yeah.
and move into the area and sort of move people up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a shame. And I think a lot of the characters when we first moved here, I don't know if anybody's spoken about Yanni, the
Yeah,
concrete man, you know, and
Yeah.
he, as much as, you know, some mornings he would just be, you know, he'd have
Obnoxious.
defecated all over himself and, you know, but he was very much a part of the street.
Yeah.
And I remember Zachary was very frightened of him initially, but got to know who he was. And
Yeah. This is your son.
this is my son, yes. Yeah, and we all got to know him as a part. And it's sad when those people disappear, and unfortunately he's
Yeah.
run over.
So-
But you see less of that, and to me that's a very real part of life.
Yeah.
And to actually live amongst that.
Yeah.
I was born in Canberra and I lived in a very sheltered environment in that way, I think. So I really enjoy
Yeah.
to be amongst
The
that.
the colour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the colour.
Yeah. And so, what do you think is the future of Fitzroy? Or
I think schooling for my children's going to probably play a part in that.
Yeah.
Zachary's at Montessori school,
Yeah.
which is a fringe education
Yeah.
system, and the school is in Collingwood, so today it's fantastic, but he will be able to do his prep year there, and that's all, and I'd like both my boys to continue at
Yeah.
Montessori, and the other one is at Caulfield South, which
Yeah.
is a 45-minute drive
Yeah.
in the mornings with traffic, or Diamond Creek, so
Yeah.
those are sort of my options. So at this point in time, it'll be for a few years. I don't know
Yeah.
whether we may move to St Kilda perhaps,
Yeah.
if we do move.
All right. Thanks very much,
Okay.
Karen.